On 7th of May, India avenged Pahalgam attack. Indian Air Force and the Indian Army has attacked 9 locations in Pakistan, and at least 90 terrorists were killed in this particular operation. The operation was called Sindoor, Operation Sindoor. And to understand more about the success of this operation, I'm joined by Major General Harsha Kakar. Sir, first of all, thank you very much for talking to ETV Bharat, sir.
Pleasure.
Tell me, sir, how do you see this particular Operation Sindoor, sir?
See, what actually happened was you had to retaliate after what happened. No country would accept a terror strike of this nature, especially when it targets innocent civilians, and not respond. But at the same time, the response has to be calibrated. It has to be at a time and place of your choosing, and once you're fully prepared for the response. So the government of India took time, played its games, got its cards in order, got everything set on the manner it's supposed to be. A major factor is a response of this nature has to be short, has to be swift, and has to be devastating. You cannot have collateral damage because that automatically is an error which the world will look upon. So everything has to be precise. And that takes time, that takes planning, and that takes the right choice of weapons which you need to use. So this was a combined operation involving the Army and the Air Force. The Air Force using a multitude of aircraft, employing its latest technology weaponry, all of which are precision guided and aim to hit the target exactly as when needed. The Army used its Excalibur as also its loitering munitions, again targeting specific camps and specific huts. So this operation launched took just about 25 minutes. 24 missiles were fired. You got the hits that you wanted, and that was the end. The moment the operation finished, the government of India issued a statement. It was calibrated, it was aimed for what it was, and only terrorist camps have been touched. There has been not a single Pakistan Army camp which has been engaged, and therefore we now say that from our side the operations are over.
So we have also seen that when this particular operation was going on, uh, we have seen it in the past also, the kind of operation, the Uri attack and the other different surgical strikes done by the Indians armed forces. How different, if you compare this particular Operation Sindoor with the previous surgical strikes, what is the difference you are finding this time?
See, when Uri happened, that was the first reaction. Okay, let's go back a little bit more to make it clearer. Since 2001 till about 2014, the only response of the government of India to terrorist strikes was Kadi Ninda. You wanted the world to apply pressure on Pak to pull back from terrorism. What was the end result? You had a multitude of strikes coming in. You had Mumbai, you had 3 or 4 different incidents in Mumbai, you've had blasts in Delhi, you've had them in Nagrota and Punj. I mean, you've had them all over. But every time there were large casualties, we would comment, we would criticize and not act. And that only emboldened Pak. Second, the world scenario was vastly different. The US was in Afghanistan. That secured Pakistan's western border. They needed the Karachi port. They needed Pakistan's airspace. So what was it? It was a benefit to Pakistan. So they could exploit that to enhance terrorism. With the current government, the first incident that took place was Uri. India responded by a cross-border strike employing its special forces. You had a large number of terrorists killed. You created the impact. For 3 years, the impact remained, though Pakistan hid the losses. They were able to cover the losses. After all, they were terrorists who had no value. We did not have the clear footage to project what we had done. After the Pulwama incident, we launched the Balakot strike. Once again, you achieved what you wanted to. But for some reason, we didn't go in for the post-strike damage assessment. They were able to get away claiming it was a madrasa and there were few civilians who were killed. But this time, you wanted to send a message not only to Pakistan, to critics within, as also the world, that India is now come of age when it can do a precision strike on a specific terrorist target, take out its objectives without any collateral damage. This time, if you look at the press conference that took place yesterday, for every target, you had the images and you had a video image of the strike happening. So now, there is no way that any of these can be said to have either not been destroyed or they were not terrorist targets. So you actually projected it. So now this difference between the earlier strikes and now evidently says that now we've displayed there were terrorist targets, we've proved to you there were terrorist targets, and we've destroyed the terrorist targets. Now you can claim what you want.
Sir, tell me more about this Operation Sindoor, sir. If we talk about the tactical execution and strategic messaging, as you have rightly said, that this was not only for Pakistan, it was a loud and clear message for people or the enemy sitting around the world of India, that see, we can do precise targeting and we can hit you wherever you are. So tell me more about the political implications, the military and the diplomatical implication of this particular operation, sir.
See, you got to realize that this is part of the overall government strategy. The government strategy began with pulling back from the IWT, looking to isolate Pak, economically trying to hit Pak by stopping the flow of APIs for pharmaceuticals, as also the flow of drugs in India. And now you came down to this. A military strike was essential to convey a message that we will not be cowed down. While you're launching other measures, a military measure was very essential. Secondly, the measure was to confirm or to tell them that we can do far more damage than what we've done. This is possibly a trailer. If you'd like to see it as a trailer, then stick where you are. If you'd like to see an expansion, we're willing to expand, mainly because we've got the economy, we've got the reserves of ammunition, of oil, of everything, which Pak doesn't have.
Do we have enough?
We have enough.
Ammunitions?
Yes, we have enough, because we are looking at 10 days war on one front, max. We've got enough for that. But in addition to that, we've got our oil reserves. That's something which is very essential for operations which Pakistan doesn't have. So that has an impact.
So you were telling me about that it is a 10-day affair or a 10-day thing for India to to finish Pakistan, or to do a carpet bombing on Pakistan and get Pakistan on their knees. But we have one example of Russia-Ukraine war also, where Ukraine thought that they can easily capture the maximum area of Ukraine, and they can do it in 10 days. But we are seeing that this particular war is now going for, let's say, around 2 years or now. 2 years or so. So how do you see that if you're saying that in 10 days we can change the geography of Pakistan, is it really possible, sir? Because there is a geopolitical pressure also.
I never said we'll change the geography in 10 days. Nor did I say we'll do a carpet bombing in 10 days. I just said that you normally expect wars to end for 10 days and you cater for ammunition reserves for 10 days for all fronts. Here you're looking at a particular front. You're not looking for breaking Pakistan. We don't want to.
Okay.
You're not looking for running over Pakistan and making Pakistan a part of India. You don't want to.
Right.
You're basically looking to convey a message. Stop supporting terrorism. You need not do it with a military ground assault. You can do it by other means. You can use missiles. So you're not looking at emptying out Pakistan or overrunning Pakistan. India is not interested. We're not interested in any of that, and you've got to realize that there is a certain level to a ground operation vis-a-vis a nuclear war. So you cannot take that. What I mentioned is when it comes down to operations, you've got the reserves. You've got the availability to expand. It's something which they lack. Now that has an impact. The question is, will it go up to that? Neither side wants it. Neither side can afford it. Neither side has the economy to sustain it. India doesn't want to sustain it because it will set us back in the economy.
Right.
So we're not looking for it, but we're looking to tell them enough is enough. Please curtail what you're doing. Let's live as neighbors and let's both grow together. If you're not willing to do it, there will be a cost to pay. The cost would be economic, the cost would be military, the cost would be in all forms.
Okay, sir. Coming back to the 9 targets, one of the target which I want to talk about is the Bahawalpur. This particular location is, I believe, 100 kilometers from the borders of India. So, I mean, the Indian Air Force going deep into the Pakistani territory and hitting out there. So, how do you see this particular attack? Because this was very deep, if we say from the point of view of Indian side.
Indian Air Force never had to enter to hit. The sort of missiles that you have now have got a range of 350 to 400 kilometers. So what is 100 kilometers? You fired very safely from within your own. Even the statement given by the Pak Foreign Ministry said no aircraft entered our airspace and no Pakistan aircraft left the Pakistan airspace. We never had to enter Pakistan. Why should we? You're not coming close to 100 kilometers. You're firing in a missile which has got a range of 350 to 400 kilometers. You're firing it from well within Indian territory.
But the Pakistani Prime Minister is saying that, and he's claiming that 5 IAF jets were shot down in this particular operation, and 3 of them were Rafale.
He's claiming. He's claiming.
Yeah.
I thought the Pak Defence Minister even said on CNN that the proof is only is on social media. And what is the proof on social media? Cuts from earlier Indian air crashes which have taken place as part of training. Cuts from video games. Has the Indian government admitted to a single loss? Has India ever hidden a loss? If a pilot would have died or a pilot would have been severely injured, would that thing be out in the press?
And the Pakistanis are always having a history of hiding.
You have to realize that since Pakistan has been hit by these terror strikes, there has to be an action to save face. You're looking at your own public, which is now looking down on their armed forces, which control the government, which control the country. And it is the same government or the same army which has put Imran Khan, the most popular leader, behind bars. How do you save face because you can't strike back so easily? You cannot cause a similar damage of hitting 9 different targets and causing that many casualties. So what are you claiming you hit aircraft? Now the story started with 2 aircraft, went to 3, went to 4, went to 5, went to 6. It came back finally again to 2. And the photographs which their own channel, some of their own YouTubers have been saying that this is of a MiG-29 crash of 2019, this is this crash of 2023, this is an AI altered image. After all, had India had a loss, I wonder if we still have a record of saying that we've had a casualty and we haven't announced. So that's evident.
Right. So let us now talk about the intelligence factor also, because the Indian Defence Forces have a strike on these 9 targets on the intel of our intelligence, reports. So how do you see this particular thing going on further? Because our intelligence has also done a very good job, and our defense officials have also stated that in the press briefing they have stated that the strike was limited to the terrorist infrastructures, and mostly, and they have named also that these structures were related to Lashkar-e-Taiba, these structures were related to Hizbul Mujahideen and Jaish-e-Mohammed.
You see, what happens is an operation of this nature requires immense coordination. I started in the beginning by explaining to you that you need the precise location. The ammunition you're using is meant for precise hits. You cannot let the ammunition, and you cannot fire a general round into an area, which will have an error of a greater circular error of probability, which would cause collateral damage. So what you're aiming for is exactly precise. Then you need those targets where terrorists are. If it's been vacated, it's of no value. So you needed those locations where there were terrorists, where you would hit and you would get your results. And if you look at the videos that were released yesterday, you found the rounds were entering the gap in the building and destroying just the building. So you needed that sort of level, and that level comes in from a collection from intelligence, from satellites, from ground sources who are inside Pak, with whom your own agents there. It's a huge combined operation which requires immense planning down to the last millimeter coordination, because everything has to be simultaneous. You cannot have the Air Force doing an hour later, the Army doing, because everyone is prepared and everything changes.
Right. So tell us more about what will be the next step by our government after this Operation Sindoor is successfully completed, and we are seeing that the Pakistan Army is also involved in shellings in the border areas. What would be our next plan of action, sir?
Currently, we've told them we're not interested in escalating further. I think, as per inputs from what I read today, the two NSAs, the NSA of India and the Pak NSA, who is also the DG ISI, are both in touch. Foreign governments are in touch with both to de-escalate. Will we de-escalate? Will it expand further? The ceasefire along the LAC has been lifted for the past, since Pahalgam. Initially it was only small arms fire, now it's escalated to artillery. Hopefully it would stop there. And the rest of it would actually depend on what Pakistan does now. Is it willing for talks? Does it pull back? Does it accept our terms? What is it looking at is what we wait.
But I believe India is ready to tackle any situation, sir.
You're prepared for any situation.
Right.
You are prepared in any form, whether it's along the LOC, whether it's along the ground.
Right. So we have also seen yesterday the Pakistan is trying to project India's action as an act of aggression and an imposition of war. Do you think that this narrative could help Islamabad garner sympathy or diplomatic support from Western nations or the international on the international forums?
They did that yesterday morning. 24 hours gone. Have you seen any support coming? Nothing. So if no support has come in the past 24 hours, will anything change now? That's where we remain. And nothing has come because India had already projected as to what its intent was.
Right.
And it is going to hit back because of a terrorist strike. You take a similar case, actually something which you are missing out. When Hamas attacked Israel, whom did the world support? When Israel hit back, did they criticize Israel for hitting back Hamas?
No. Right.
So what did Jaishankar say yesterday? That no country should be soft against terrorism. You have to hit back at terrorism. They did it, we did it, it's there.
And we must appreciate the strategy of S. Shankar, because post operations, the way the Indian side was connecting with the diplomats of different nations and apprising them about the objective and the outcome of Operation Sindoor. This has also sent a strong message across the world that this is the capability of India, and this is how we used to perform the operation.
India has conveyed a message. It's conveyed its intent that it will not accept terrorism. It's clearly stated that if any strike comes on us, we will hit back. It is proved to the world it will not listen to anyone when it comes down to ensuring its own national security. It will do what is necessary. There has been no comment from the PM. The Pak PM has been all over screaming and howling. The Indian PM has not made a single comment. His only address after Operation Sindoor was when he spoke about space. He never mentioned anything here. So he's conveyed to the world, we are doing what is essential, we will do what is necessary, and we will not listen to anyone other than our own interests.
And how do you see this briefing other diplomats of the of different Western nations, or I mean, we have also heard that the the details were shared with the US also, with Russia also, with big nations around the world by the Indian side. So how do you see this particular strategy, sir?
See, you're looking at telling them whom you hit, why you hit, and what was the end result. You conveyed that clearly. Prior to Operation Sindoor, after Pahalgam, there was also a briefing for diplomats. At that stage, you give them the proof that yes, this is Pakistan's involvement, we are very clear and we will act. That was a warning given. How and what was never covered. Now you've conveyed to them exactly what you did, how you did, and the damage you caused, and you've sent a message, we are willing to step back provided Pakistan does.
Well, this will be all for today, sir. Thank you very much for talking to ETV Bharat. So for more news and update, keep watching ETV Bharat.